Yes? Oh, you're waving. I thought you had a question already. I was impressed. Good afternoon and welcome to our panel, Zombie Survival Planning. There we go. Not just for survival nuts. I totally named that in my sleep. Today we're going to go over a number of things on the subject of zombie survival, but not necessarily some of the stuff that you've heard before. I know everybody here is what? What do you got to do to zombies? You got to
put up their head.
And what do you got to use?
A gun.
Should you set zombies on fire? Oh my God, you guys, you're in so much trouble. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I know, you get flaming zombies, right? So we're going to go over a number of things, a number of common misconceptions that people might have about zombies and how to handle zombies. And you guys can file in along the sides or stand by the door or dance. And some common misconceptions about how to handle zombies, who should be dealing with zombies, what you should be doing, should be using guns, should be using sticks, should be using bricks or knives or whatever. So we're going to go over these things. And I think we have an introduction slide. Our slideshow, I really apologize if something goes wrong. We brought it from a Mac to a PC, and that's like committing genocide apparently. So all our slides are messed up. Oh, we do. Huzzah. Good. My name is Jessica Craig. I am the last person listed here. I spent 8 years in the United States Armed Forces as an intelligence analyst, so I technically can actually do these sort of things. I'm actually a credible source in looking at, we spent most of my career looking at difficult situations and things that you're going to be dealing with and sending my pilots off into areas where they were going to be fighting with all sorts of lovely people. And so my job was looking at a situation and assessing the dangers inherent in it and possibly finding loopholes or other people they could shoot at. We have here Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
And what do her credentials include?
I have an associate's in biology and I'm going for my bachelor's in plant science, so I will be talking about self-preparedness, how to go about gardening and things like that. That's about it, really. I've been gardening for a long time, have my own greenhouse, worked with Rutgers and DuPont over the summer, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Hi.
He wanted the free ticket.
Yeah. I got a badge too.
Joe's going to be speaking to you today on the subject of some things that a lot of people don't necessarily cover in zombie survival, like keeping yourself in good shape and all sorts of stuff like that.
Keep your mind sharp.
You're so underqualified. Anyway, so I'm gonna start here with a couple of slides and maybe talk for a few minutes and perhaps slow it down because I think I've been talking really quickly. A number of things that you hear on a regular basis with your zombie survival are just not true. First thing you hear is, where don't you want to be? Anyone know?
With other people.
With other people, right. You don't want to be in population centers, you don't want to be in cities. First thing everybody says is get out of town. Don't get out of town. This is just absolutely the worst thing to do. If you're going to look at a zombie survival situation, and let's say you have the outbreak has happened, it's all over the news, there's zombies running in the streets, chicks have forgotten how to dress normally because every zombie survival movie has chicks dressed like that.
You will kill so many like this.
Yeah, so like, oh God. So yeah, everybody just loses their mind. And so when all of this hits the fan, everyone thinks, oh my gosh, I'm in New Jersey, I need to get out. I need to run away, I need to get someplace where there's nobody's there, which everybody else is going to be doing too. And I don't know how many of you have to drive back and forth into Philly every day, but you leave at 8 o'clock in the morning to get there at 10 a.m. and you're still late. All that fun gridlock and traffic jams, it's going to be 100 times worse when there's zombies running around and you're just freshly kept little morsels neatly sealed in little cars, and it's like, yay, now you put them in the fridge and the zombies can knock in later. Exactly. So now you have a whole situation where you're trying to get out of whatever state or city that you're in, and now there's zombies everywhere and you're trapped in your car and there's a car in front of you and a car behind you, and it's just all sorts of bad news. What I generally suggest is that if you're actually going to try to get out of Dodge, like Jersey's a bad place to be. There are a lot of people here and not many of them know how to use the guns they own. So if you want to get out of Jersey, wait a week. Any sort of outbreak that you hear about, any sort of thing like that, logically speaking, is going to take at least a week to really rile up. And if you've got a little outbreak, like everybody heard about the bath salts guy, everyone's like, zombies, oh no! Let's say that was actually an attack. Let's say bath salts dude was actually a thing. How many people did bath salts dude bite? One, exactly. So let's assume bath salts dude managed to bite 5 people, and that was it. And they managed to contain it. They contained bath salts dude really quickly. Dude was on drugs, so drug zombies. But they contained him really quickly. The cops did their job. Didn't bite any cops. Only bit 1 person. They got it under control. If you see a little zombie outbreak and everybody starts running, panicking for the hills, and the cops get it under control within a week, you're gonna feel kind of silly. Because now you've left the state, you've packed your kids into your car, and you've loaded all your guns, and you're in another state, and people are thinking you're really weird. What are you doing? Bath salts guy! Really? Get back home, go back home! And then you've got looters. On top of that, you leave your house, you leave like, I'm never coming back to this house again, I'm moving to the mountains and we're gonna shoot zombies for 20 years and save the human race from the middle of nowhere. And then everything's over in 2 weeks. And you feel a little goofy and you go back home and you've left your house there and some looters have broken in and stolen all your stuff. Or set something on fire, or you forgot the dog. I don't know if you guys left the dog in your house for 2 days. But 2 weeks, everything's going to be destroyed. It's just no good, especially when the squirrels get in. So you don't want to really be leaving immediately. You want to give it a week. You want to give it a week. You want to make sure that you're just kind of waiting, paying attention to the news, watching for all the horror signs that say you're going to need to get out and go. And if everything dies down and nothing happens, you're golden. And you're not one of the statistics. A whole bunch of people got in their cars and tried to leave the state, and instead of 500 zombies, we now have 5,000 because all these people were trapped in their cars and got bit. Whereas you aren't one of those people who ran out willy-nilly, you stayed in your house and played Skyrim until the problem was over. So you want to, hey, who swore the Dovahkiin oath today? That guy rocks. That guy is so what? Yeah, that guy was so cool. So you want to like wait for a week, and on top of that, you should always have enough supplies in your house, just normally, for 1 month. This is probably appears somewhere else in my slideshow, but you should, as a thinking human being, not as someone getting ready for a zombie apocalypse, not as someone who thinks all this stuff is going to go down, as a thinking human being, you should have enough stuff, food and water in your house to last approximately a month. Because if something like Sandy hits, or the fires hit, or we have an earthquake that does more than knock a chair over, and it puts out our power for, in some cases, a month and a half, you have enough things to go with. You know, you don't have to be rushing to the store with everybody else. You've got the water, you've got everything there. And then if zombies just happen to happen, you're ready. You're not crazy. You were waiting for a hurricane. Zombies happened, but I was ready for a hurricane too. So there's that. That's enough. We're going to leave this one. Don't set zombies on fire. Do zombies feel pain?
No.
No? Are we sure? We're pretty sure, right? Yeah. So, when you set a normal person on fire in the movies, what are you supposed to do if you get set on fire?
Stop, and roll.
Right, you guys knew that, right? The kids in the room, every kid in the room knew. Has anyone ever seen someone in a movie stop, drop, and roll? What do they do? I have been taught to stop, drop, and roll since I could talk. Like, you want to practice? So, like, I have been taught to stop, drop, and roll since I could talk, since I could move around. I don't understand why people in the movies don't remember that. Maybe it's all the pain, but it's been pounded in my head long enough. Stop, drop, and roll. Zombies aren't going to do that. Zombies are going to run around with their arms like this. Anyone know how much, can anyone remember off the top of their head how much property damage the last fire in New Jersey that the military set by accident caused?
A lot?
It was a lot. I can't actually remember the number. I had it on my slide and it disappeared. But it was a lot of damage, and the fires out in the Midwest do countless amounts of damage every other year at least. And if you have a zombie running around on fire, you're gonna set your house on fire, your shrubbery on fire, your cat's on fire, your neighbor's on fire, other zombies. And then those zombies will run around you gotta give them at least 5 minutes before it finally knocks out what they're doing. And then it set the entire town on fire, and now your house is on fire, and you have nowhere to live, and there's zombies. You've just made everything worse. Burn the bodies. Don't set them on fire while they're alive. As for a sanitary option, you should burn the bodies. Like if you have a couple minutes to pile the bodies up and you burn them and everything. If you can't, it's easier than burying them. You can't really by yourself dig enough holes for all the zombies you're gonna be killing. So you want to burn the bodies and make sure that it's sanitized and animals in the area can't get to them and they're not smelling. Dead bodies around are going to cause a lot of health hazards. So set zombies on fire?
No.
Do we get it out of town immediately?
No.
Wonderful. Yes?
What about the biological hazard of burning bodies?
What about the biological hazard of burning bodies? Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
No, just like what if it's something that's airborne? If it's contagious and you burn the body,
There's a good point.
just pretty much giving it to everyone else.
There's the possibility of that. I'm not a bio major, so I can't actually tell you. But if anybody ever wants to find out and write me an email whether or not you can, in burning something, you can release that toxin into the air. My email is jessicats@gmail.com, and I would like to know. I'm not entirely sure. I was under the impression that burning something actually destroyed all of those toxins and so on, but we don't know. It's zombies, dead or walking. Who knows?
Depends on the chemical.
It does. It also depends on the
That's how they
chemicals.
get rid
If
of like
it's-
biological agents. They burn it.
Yeah, if it's a bacteria or something like that, it's going to be denatured. That's what proteins do. They denature. Like when you get a fever, that's why if you have a high enough fever, if it will kill you because all your proteins will denature. So if it's a protein, a virus, a bacteria, something like that, fungus, anything like that, if it is living or a virus, it will probably die. If it is a toxin like carbon monoxide, in that case, probably not. You shouldn't burn it.
And on that note, thank you for bringing this up because I was apparently just going to forget it. When you eventually burn the bodies, you want to make sure that you are upwind, right? That's where the wind isn't blowing towards you?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to make sure the bodies are downwind from you and you are upwind, that the smoke isn't blowing at you. Even if everything is denatured, I'm not a science major. Even if everything has been denatured and it's all pretty safe, there's still the matter of when you get enough junk into your lungs, anything, ash and so on, you can get all kinds of sick. So you don't want that sort of stuff floating around. If you're going to do it, the simplest way to do anything is tying something around your face. But
Plus dead bodies smell. I don't know if you've ever been around a dead body. They smell worse when they're burning. It's really, really
I
weird.
kind of don't want you to stare at my house anymore.
Stay over there.
All right, guns.
Oh,
Okay, this is a big topic, and we actually had somebody. Where'd she go? Oh no, somebody asked us about this, about whether or not you've got guns versus melee weapons. Everyone says guns. Run to the gun store and get your guns. Make sure you go there and get all your bullets and shoot all the bullets at all the zombies and kill them all dead. Now, I see a lot of head shaking, so we've apparently got at least some people who have some expertise and have read something on it. So I'll keep it brief. One, if you run to the gun store and get your guns, there's somebody at the gun store who owns the gun store, and is heavily armed and angry, and doesn't want to give you his guns. I wouldn't want to be there. Two, everybody else in town wants to go there. Let them fight with the gun store owner first. Come and see what's up, and then maybe he has to join him. Be like, hey, I noticed you've killed 20 people. Do you need a maid? I worked maid service at Kotoricon. I know what's up, so you can try that one. I'm not sure how well it'll work. So, one, everyone's going to want to be going and getting the guns. Two, how many people here have fired real guns, not BB guns, successfully on a regular enough basis that you could probably take off the safety, fire the gun, clean the gun, load the gun, and put it back together? Hands up.
Does a flare count?
No.
I need 3 hands.
Right. Everybody else, I'm sure you understand the concept of point and click. It took me, the first time somebody handed me a gun and said, go ahead and shoot, 8 minutes to find how to turn the safety off. 8. I was in military intelligence. 8 minutes. That's embarrassing.
she could have been dead.
I could have been dead. So there's that. So there's one, if you're not really sure how to use a gun, probably more dangerous for you than anyone else around you. And two, in most zombie movies, what are zombies attracted to? And don't say
Noise.
noises, loud noises. What do guns make? Loud noises, more loud noises than I do. So they're going to make a lot of loud noises. If you can, just try to do something about, poke them from a distance with something, set up a nice barricade, throw some heavy rocks, whatever. Do stuff that is quietly going to take these guys out. If you know how to use a crossbow and you have a high-powered crossbow, get on that. Everyone should learn how to use one of those things. Those things are amazing.
So cool.
They are really fun and they're quiet as anything. So, and then there's the matter of, if you point a gun at a zombie, it's not going to stop, right?
No.
If somebody points a gun at you, what are you going to do?
Stop.
Whoa, hey now. And there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to wish you ill. They're going to want your guns, and they're going to want your food, and they're going to want whatever house you're in. And if they come up to you and they mean business, you're, I've got my gun and you can go. But the zombies aren't going to be scared of it. guns are actually a very psychological weapon. The fact that they can fire really long distances and the fact that they are very quick to fire and easy to use, I personally feel isn't what puts them on top of the food chain. It's the fact that it's scary to have someone point a gun at you. It's a very big psychological thing. I can kill you just as easily with a crossbow as I can with a gun, I personally. She could probably kill you better with a crossbow because she's a creepy hunter chick. But you know, you have somebody pointing a crossbow at you with all the movies and stuff that we see, you're gonna be like, is that a toy? If someone points a gun at you, you're like, here's my wallet. So you want to save the guns for super emergency situations, and you want to save them for dealing with people who are going to be afraid of them, so you never have to use your ammo and you can save it up. I'm almost done talking. Don't engage in melee. Find somewhere high and drop rocks. We really, really wanted to do a demonstration where we put a cup of water on the table and hit it with a baseball bat and asked how many people got wet from it. When you hit something and you're going to explode its head with a baseball bat or something like that, everyone's going to get splattered and you're going to get the blood and all of that stuff everywhere. And then there's that biohazard thing, so you're running out. And how many people have a cut on their hands right now? Hands up. How many people have a cut on your hands? Yep, there you go, you're dead. Ta-da! How many people have eyeballs? Anyone see that 28 days later when the dude's like, hey, look up. Instantly, it happened like, she ran stuff, good? So it was instant. You've got all sorts of fun little orifices and places for this stuff to get, and if you're hitting it with baseball bats close up, you're gonna get that in your mouth, and then you're just gonna be brains and all day. It's kind of like jonesing, but for brains. It's really simple. These things will walk right up to you. You sit on the top of a roof and like, oh look, they'll line up neatly. Get yourself a long shovel, a heavy pole, a bag of rocks, a gullible friend, and just that thing will lobotomize her. This is from Max Brooks's The Zombie Survival Guide, as well as from his wonderful book World War Z. Don't see the movie because it looks nothing like the book. Oh, I'm such a fangirl. But it's something that in his book the military uses that is a very sharp foldable shovel so they can kill zombies with it and then dig holes and put the zombies in it. So, very useful thing. So, do you want to...
They actually sell things like that.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's a pickaxe on one end and a shovel on the end. And I think they're so out of stock of them that it's like a 3-year waiting list from this guy that makes them. It's pretty neat. He's on like the Be Prepared TV shows.
Well, yeah, you know, after bath salts die, everyone wants one.
Oh, yeah.
So, you want, and these things will just, they'll walk up to your house, they'll line up neatly, you've got all day. They're not going anywhere. Thunk, thunk, thunk. You wait, wipe the blood off, take a nap, you're golden. You don't need to be out there swinging a baseball bat and thinking you're, I don't know, who's the main character? Mila Jovovich, her. You don't even think you're her. She got blood all over her. I don't know how she was immune to it, whatever. Anyway, and I think this is, nope, not my last one yet. Whoops. I think I got 2 more. My other one is, who here can pilot a boat? Who here, out of the ones who can pilot a boat, who here owns a boat? Right. Who here has seen boats sink? Who here knows about that incredibly courageous and intelligent captain of that cruise liner over in God knows where, who sunk his boat by trying to be cool?
Really?
See, there you go. Which one? Professionals manage to sink boats on a regular basis. Everyone's, get on the water. The zombies can't get you. Yeah, but there's storms and water. It's everywhere. I can walk on land. I'm not Jesus. I cannot walk on water. And quite frankly, if my car breaks down, I can get out and run. If my boat breaks down, I have to swim to somewhere, and Lord knows where I am, and I'm going to get tired, and I can't take a nap while I'm swimming. I can climb up a tree and take a nap. I can't climb up a dolphin and take it, or I don't know. So, those things are prone to sinking. If a hurricane comes to you on land, everyone knows how much damage Sandy did. And we live on the ground. If you were out in the water when that happened, then zombies aren't even a problem.
Atlantis City. No.
Atlantis City.
Atlantis?
Did you say it? Too soon. Yeah. Maybe you should. Anyway. So there's just a matter of, I know everyone knows, they know how to swim, and the zombies aren't going to be there, and it's going to be great, but if your boat tips over, if your car stops and stalls, you can get up and walk away. If your boat tips over, you might have to swim, and Lord knows how long you're going to have to swim, and what if you get a cramp? What if sharks happen? What if, like some of the zombie books, the zombies can walk underwater, and then they drag you down, and it's even scarier. Nightmares for you guys. So, No boats. Yes.
Could like sharks and all of them, like, could they transform if it's like the virus just in water or something like that?
Zombie.
That entirely depends on what zombie genre you're talking about. There are a number of zombie genres that say that the disease can transfer back and forth. It also depends on how you're looking at zombies. If we're going to look at zombies, yes.
This one was horrifying.
Now I'm going to have nightmares.
Nightmare fuel.
But logically speaking, if zombies were to, honestly, like, we're going to step out of the fact that we're all zombie nuts here, I hope, and look at, could zombies really, honest to God, happen in the real world?
Yes.
The answer is yes, and the reason is rabies. Rabies almost entirely mimics most of the things that the rage virus mimicked in 28 Days Later. You go kind of nuts, you're incredibly contagious, you die slowly, quickly, depending, and you start to lose your control of your mental faculties. Rabies, if you decide you wanted to weaponize rabies or do crazy stuff with it, I'm absolutely certain there's a lab somewhere where people are doing things they shouldn't be, and they're taking rabies and going, how can we make this worse? So, now, looking at rabies can absolutely transfer between species, which is unfortunate. So can, flus did that too.
A lot of the flus have been doing it. Swine flu, bird flu, everything. Like, it just... That's the thing about viruses is that they change. And that's the worst. That's the scariest part, is that they mutate. And that's why, like, we can't get rid of HIV. That's why we can't get rid of the flu forever. Because viruses are not alive, so we can't kill them, and they mutate so fast. So we can't kill any of them, because there's so many different variations.
And if you thought you were going to sleep well tonight, I'm sorry. But
Hand sanitizer, people.
depending on the way the zombie virus or whatever it is traveling, you may or may not be able to have the nightmare-inducing zombie sharks. But then the zombie bears can fight them, and it'll be great.
What sci-fi are you watching?
Rule 34. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, a bunch of you got it. So that could be a real thing, and you want to also make sure that on that note, if you're like hunting animals or if you're trying to get yourself some deer to eat or so on, you want to be sure that that deer's not frothing at the mouth and saying brains or in a Sam Raimi movie, right? Him? Anyway. And this one. Don't think that preppers are entirely crazy. They're pretty crazy. Has anyone seen the Doomsday Preppers TV show?
Yes.
Oh my god, that TV show is great. Not only does it give you a lot of great ideas, but you can go, I'm not that bad. I'm good. Don't think that the people who are prepping and saying the end of the world is coming, or I'm just getting ready for the blackouts or so on are crazy. You get a lot of that flying back and forth in politics. This person's crazy, that person's crazy. Or with religion, this person's
We're all
crazy.
crazy.
Hey, you're on our team.
Like most of us are dressed in
But like some things can happen. Again, I like to use Sandy as an example because so many people were put out of their homes, or Katrina. And for just so long, if you had enough things saved up or so on, and if that happens to you, now do not think for a second that I'm saying anybody who was a victim of any of these horrible things should have done anything differently. No one can predict when these things are going to happen. No one can predict what is going to happen, and it's just absolutely terrible. But what you don't want to be is you don't want to be a victim. If you can at all prepare yourself and get ready for things like that, then you're also ready for the zombie apocalypse. Ta-da! So you want to prep in ways that are going to apply to your normal life. Little things that can help you from day to day, like little things that you can pick up that I'm going to cover later because I should probably stop talking for a little bit. So we're going to go on to Bailey on the subject of things you can do ahead of time and things that you can learn. Bailey?
Alright, so I've been gardening since I was a wee lass. So I've just picked up on all this stuff, and I have a pretty small yard. I mean, it's an acre, but out where we live, that's really small. So we have to make our gardens as small as possible, but as efficient as possible. The best books that I can refer to you are Square Foot Gardening and Carrots Love Tomatoes. Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, it's not the 50 Shades of Grey of gardening. So these books give you all kinds of information about when to plant your seeds, before or after a frost, how many weeks, and you can plant. Yeah, you can plant. Let me see. One of the quotes is, "In a 4x4 foot square, you can grow tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, 3 types of them, bush beans, Swiss chard, chives, carrots, radishes, marigolds, beets, onions, and nasturtiums, which are all salads. That's for a family of 4 that can keep going throughout the summer."
That's like this big.
That's this big. I can walk in this, and that's amazing. It's amazing that you can do that. You can do that with everything. You can do zucchinis, bush beans. Like we did a 16 by 16, and I think we ate for the entire summer. We did not spend any money on vegetables. We did broccoli, cucumber, peppers, zucchini, all kinds of things like that. So 2 books, really, really good books.
Can you can that stuff?
You can can that stuff, in fact, and we did. We have about 100 cans of tomato sauce down in our basement that we did ourselves. It's a long process, but it lasts forever. We've had that since last summer. And it stays forever. You can freeze all your beans, you can freeze, you can cook down and freeze your, like greens, your spinaches, things like that. It's really good to do that. You can make your zucchini into breads, which is delicious. It's mostly sugar, but it's delicious. And that freezes, things like that. So look into these books. So yes. Yeah, zombies don't eat plants.
These were
Which
just
is the best thing ever. And even if you have a small like apartment area or something like that, it's really good to have that kind of gardening because again you can fit so much into such a small amount of space. You can even do window gardening. There's all kinds of things you can do with that.
What kind of buildings can you do window gardening in?
Anything that is south facing. I want to say a south facing house is the best. Or south-facing window is the best because you get all that afternoon sun, which is really good. And you can do like a hanging garden where all the plants get all the light instead of a flat garden like that. So
Isn't that west where the sun sets in the west?
But because we are north of the equator, the sun from where we are does this instead of this.
Depending on where you are, you alter your gardening technique. Here it's a south-facing house. What else? That's not me. I also want to talk about, there are 2 different types of plants. There are hybrid plants, which companies out there like DuPont, Monsanto, Syngenta, things like that are making so that they give off the most amount of food in the smallest amount of plant and for the most bang for your buck. The thing about them is that they do not produce seeds that will produce the same plant. So you get a tomato. That tomato is the biggest, ripest, juiciest, reddest tomato that you have ever had. But you take that seed from that tomato and you stick it in the ground and you get these tomatoes that look black and shriveled and weird. And you don't want them at all because who knows what they actually are. So you want to go with heirloom. Now these you can order online and they give off, though the plants aren't as big and pretty and shiny, they will give you the same plant every time. You take that seed, you plant it in the ground. You get that plant, you take that seed, you plant it in the ground. It's the best thing ever. We did it, and though the plants weren't like, oh, it's a big bushy plant, you still got so much food off of it, and they actually tasted better in my opinion. Composting. So you can take your waste from your grass, from your bushes, from your food even, your farm animal waste if you have them, just not human waste or inside animal waste, no dog or anything like that.
No carnivores.
Yeah, no carnivores. And you stick that into a pile and you let it marinate. Is what one of my teachers told me. You let it marinate. I'm like,
Delicious.
I don't want poop to be marinating. That's gross. And you stick it in a huge pile and it breaks down and it's called compost. This compost can be used as fertilizer for your gardens when you'll need it, because you'll need it. Or if you don't want to go the composting fertilizer route, you can go with pigs, because pigs eat everything. Everything. That's why the police check the pigs' places first, because the pigs will eat everything. If you sit still long enough, I have a friend that says if you sit still long enough, the pigs will start biting at you.
They can digest everything according to, what was that movie? Snatch. According to the movie Snatch, they can digest everything but your teeth and your hair. So
No, that's not true. They can digest everything. It's really scary. But they will eat all of your waste that you are not willing to throw out. You just put it out to them. Plus, they give off more pigs, and they give off food, and they're smart, and they're clean, and they're supposed
And bacon.
and they're supposed to live in small areas because the meat will be better. If you let them run around, they get all muscly and gross. So keep it in a small area next to your small garden, and you'll be fine.
So what if it eats the garden?
It won't.
Oh.
because you'll put a fence, obviously. So that's an awesome thing. Another thing you should know about are what weeds are edible. Things like dandelions, purslane, plantain, chicory, red clover, violets, blackberries, and blueberries that are wild. Shepherd's purse and sorrel are just a few. There are plenty of books you can pick up. Even the internet has pages and pages of edible weeds. You can put them in a salad, or if you're on the run, hey look, I found this thing. Just make sure that it's edible, because everybody has made that mistake where, oh, this berry is so pretty and blue, and I'm dead. So.
And remember, wash them off, because everything pees outside. Everything.
Yeah, but that's not as worrisome as poison.
I don't know. I kind of don't want pea dandelions.
It's like salad dressing.
That's extra flavor involved.
So, let's say that a zombie kicked in that door right now. After a room of the 50 most prepared people in this convention deal with it, everyone goes home and we're all ready. It's happening. Zombie apocalypse.
Yay.
What's the first thing you do? Anybody, holler it out.
Not leave the city.
Okay, not leave the city. We got something else. Anybody else?
To get knives.
Taking knives, board windows,
Medical supplies.
medical supplies. I like the way you're thinking.
I'll probably take a nap. Just saying.
Smart, and I'll get to that.
Probably because you saw the first bullet from the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they're dealing with an apocalypse scenario or a disaster like a hurricane or an earthquake or a tornado or a fire, they start getting sensational. They start thinking, I gotta stockpile my food, I gotta lock all my doors, I gotta learn how to use these guns, and they're all very important parts, but there's a lot of little things that a lot of people overlook. The most important thing is how you treat your own body. If you are on the run from a zombie and you've slept as little as I slept in the past 2 days,
He's zombie made these days.
yeah, you don't want your body to shut down on you when you need it most. If you haven't slept and you've been on the run, and you finally think you have a minute to sit and catch your breath and your brain just turns off, it doesn't matter how slow a zombie's walking, it's moving a lot faster than sleeping. Another big thing too is poor nutrition. She was talking about how renewable resources like gardens and everything like that are important, but you may not be in a situation where you can rely on renewable resources. If you're on the move, you can't bring an entire garden with you. You know, it'd be great to have an entire train of pigs behind you.
Terrarium.
In the event that you are not a plant science major who knows how to make a mobile apocalypse terrarium.
Oh, I'm
I'm gonna write a book called Mobile Apocalypse Terrarium.
I am going to sell the crap out of them.
That's copyrighted.
Yeah, dude, that copywritten right now.
But in the event that you don't have that kind of education or knowledge, you need to know what you're putting into your body. Things like caffeine and soda and chocolate, they feel great and they are good in moderation. But if you're taking too many stimulants in, your body's not going to react well. I know right now. Anyone ask me how I feel?
How do you feel?
How do you feel?
Terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I've way too much caffeine in the past day. Your body will thank you if you feed it right. Things like nuts, dried fruits, they last forever.
Yep.
Vitamins.
Vitamins. Go get a bottle of Flintstones chewables, keep them in your back pocket, take one a week, and you'll be a lot better off. Trust me.
If I could make a comment, break any, I call them addictions because they are. Your body recognizes them as something you need, caffeine, nicotine, things like that. Things that, right now, I haven't had my Pepsi for today. I have a headache. I'm sure he feels worse. But, it's something that you need to break yourself of. Though there are things out there that are natural stimulants like this, like chicory is a good source of caffeine. If you ever want to make chicory coffee, I hear it's great. But things like that, if you feel the need to, you should start breaking addictions now. Because you don't want to be jonesing in the middle of a fight or running. Need a cigarette.
Speaking of a fight, though, another big point when you are surviving in the apocalypse. If you are boarded up and you have a great shelter, you've destroyed the staircases, the windows are barricaded, you have all the food and water you can need for a year. One thing that you'll never be prepared for is a muscle cramp. Try sitting around all week, take a week off from work or school or sports or whatever you do, and sit around for an entire week, okay? Don't do anything. Watch a little bit of TV, maybe the farthest you'll walk is from your room to the bathroom.
Kids, don't do this. Don't listen to him.
Please don't.
He's saying bad things.
But then after that week, I want you to get up and try to run 100 feet. And
Don't do any of that. You're gonna go to the hospital. Stop.
That's the point.
You're gonna sue us.
The whole point of this is your body will start to shut down on you if you don't exercise it properly. A lot of people will lift weights and get everything to get their muscles strong and to get a good core, but your legs, if they don't carry you anywhere for a week, they're gonna cramp if you try to run somewhere. Now imagine a month or 2 or 3 months of you sitting in the same few groups. You need to make sure that when you're barricaded in somewhere, you're in for the long haul. You and your survivors do things like even if it's a foot race, just to something for fun. You know, maybe if you win the foot race, you get to get out of watch duty for a day, or anything like that.
You get to sleep in the bed.
Do jumping jacks, things like this to keep your muscles sharp. So if you ever need to abandon your stronghold, your body is ready for it. What's one thing I want to talk about? Oh, cleanliness and hygiene. We all talked about cuts on our hands and everything, and how just a little bit of blood inside of you, instead of one cut, can turn you. A little bit of bacteria inside that same cut might not turn you into a zombie, but can give you a fever of 105 degrees and
Denature. Let's say it
word.
together.
Denature.
Oh my God, they're good.
It can kill you.
Now you're scientists. Congratulations.
I got a degree in history.
And hygiene is obviously important at any point of the year, but when you don't have things like a CVS fully stocked with medicines, or a doctor who can come see you when you're not feeling all that great.
Or a scientist.
What doctors do you know that make house calls?
Oh, my dad had one.
You're lucky as
For
hell.
when he went through insurance stuff.
Ah.
It was really weird. I woke up and some lady was in my kitchen, like measuring my dad. I'm like, what did I talk about?
Then the doctor showed up after that. So, making sure that your body is going to be clean and healthy is important. A lot of the things we take for granted every day, like a bottle of aspirin when you have a headache, or some amoxicillin when you have a sore throat, aren't available in this kind of situation. So, making sure that you've got your body ready and clean and happy and healthy is going to do a lot more than knowing how to load and unload a gun.
Oh, look. Congratulations, you get to keep talking for a minute.
Hooray!
Boredom.
Boredom sucks. Everyone here has had those days.
Stress also.
Everyone here has had those days where you've been sitting in your house and you just don't feel like turning on the Xbox anymore. And none of your friends,
Yeah, first of all, problems.
and none of your friends are home. They're all at school or work, or no one wants to go out. Boredom for a single day is terrible.
We're
No,
fighting
imagine-
zombies without you.
Yeah, that's no fun at all.
No.
Imagine that you find yourself in a situation for a year.
Ugh.
It's really easy to forget that we are human. Like, while we do need to cut some creature comforts out in post-apocalyptic scenarios, you'll go crazy without them. Something as simple as like a puzzle, or a little tiny puzzle you put in your backpack, or a book, or a deck of cards, or just a good friend by your side.
Okay, we're all a bunch of nerds here. Role-playing games.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, those
Yes.
things can keep you busy for hours on end. They're really interesting. And right now, we role-play that zombies are here, so you can just have somebody run a game where you're normal people playing Xbox and going to work.
D&D will save us all.
Yeah, there you go. It's anything that you can bring with you that's compact enough to give you hours and hours of social entertainment. God, it's as good as gold. That way you don't go crazy and start shooting people.
Youngins over here probably know hand games.
Miss Mary Mac.
Forever.
You're like the girliest friend I have.
Forever.
That's
Yeah. Oh, these things. Okay.
Got that?
We have a few minutes before we're going to go into questions, so I'm going to rush through these really quick. On the subject of prep, pre-prep, and all of that, things you can do on an everyday basis.
I miss you. Thanks for coming.
I love you.
Things you can do on an everyday basis that you can just kind of get it together. These are little things that you can do here and there that could and possibly will come in handy in real life situations that aren't zombies that don't make you look nuts. The first one is a bug out bag, and a number of places, including the CDC, will give you lists of things that you should have in a bag that you keep someplace near you. I forgot mine. I'm very upset about that. I'm so unprepared.
Good job, Jess.
But I have two. I have one that lives in the trunk of my car and one that lives in my house. A bug out bag should have pretty much everything that's going to help you live for a couple of days as you go out. You should have water purification tablets that you can get from almost any sports store. They're very inexpensive and they last forever. They come in a little bottle, and when the cops find one, you tell them they're drugs and go to jail for years. water purification tablets, a knife, something that you can use to make fire, some dried food that'll last forever. You want to have a first aid kit and a first aid book. A book that tells you, a first aid book for dummies, something that tells you how to handle everything for idiots. That way when you are panicked and you're being an idiot, you can then you take the splint and put it on the leg. Something really, really simple. You want to also have some cording in there, which anyone have cording on them? Laces, shoelaces. It's like shoelaces, long cording. You want to have a good amount of length of those. They actually sell awesome little bracelets now that are like dozens of feet of cording and a tiny bracelet you can wear at all times. Cording is useful to make things, to make things.
Paracord ones.
Yep, to make things like tourniquets, bear bags, tying your food up in trees. If you need to carry extra things, you need to sling stuff on your person. You want to also have that, cording, food, medicine. If you take any regular medicine, you want to keep it, you want to like store your bug out bag by it so that you can shove it all into the bag as quickly as you can. You should also keep some sort of painkillers in there, some sort of along the painkillers. If you take anything, for instance, I get really debilitating migraines, but the medication that I take for it lasts forever. I actually keep a couple extra doses of it in my bag. Stuff like that is in a bug out bag, and that's also used for, hurricanes coming, into the car with a bug out bag, everything you need to survive for at least a week. You want to try to keep dried food in there that you can survive for at least a week, yes.
Would it be wise to take this stuff with you, like at all times?
I keep mine in my car, yes. My bug out bag lives with me. There are smaller versions of them, and if you go on almost any survival site, you can find little teeny tiny versions of them. Some places sell ones that fit a little bug out bag that fit in like a water bottle. That you can have all the things you need, compass, fire.
They come with the water bottle.
And they come with a water bottle. Oh! That sort of stuff.
I
saw ones with Altoid kits, Altoid
Yeah, where they
containers.
come with like a Band-Aid and a, yeah.
And they're just useful little things that you have with you all the time. I never go anywhere without my truck, so I always have mine. Ladies, I'm sure that the giant purse thing is a fad these days, so there you go.
You should also have some sort of kit in your car as it is. My grandmother always tells me, because she lives in Florida and I live in New Jersey, she's like, do you have a chocolate bar in your car just in case you run into a snowbank and have to live there for a year? I'm like, okay, sure.
Never seen snow, Grandma. Never, apparently. Yeah, just having that sort of stuff in your car, and that's also good sense. You should also, everybody should have a first aid kit in your car. If you have a first aid kit, you should have at least 1 day's worth of any medication that you regularly take in your car in case you break down or you're out somewhere. Like, I don't know, I broke down to the Pine Barrens before. That is scary stuff. And I don't want to be stuck out there. Jersey Devil lives out there. So there's that. Zombieland was right. Cardio, cardio, cardio. If you are not out doing some sort of cardio, we're all nerds. We don't like it. But if you're not out doing some sort of cardio, you should be. Either swimming or just, running in place, goofing off. We LARP. Yeah, LARPing. Nerdy cardio. Woo! Yeah. LARPing. My one friend hated running. She knew she needed to run. She knew she needed to get in shape. She absolutely hated running. She goes, I would run if, I was in trouble and someone was chasing me. So I picked up a baseball bat, and every 3 days we would run around the apartment complex, and I wasn't a baseball bat, it was the broom. But every 3 days we'd run around the apartment complex, and if I caught her, I'd beat her with a broom. She ran, and I got my exercise too. So if you're a sadist, chase your roommate with a broom. Role play. So there's that. You need to have some sort of cardio in your life, and again, it's also for healthy living. When the zombies come, yay, you won't be the kid that got caught, and for now, you won't have a heart attack. Also learn some stuff. Like she was saying, she had a whole list of things that you can learn, and I actually keep the zombie survival blog because I'm crazy, called You Would Only Slow Me Down. It's youwouldonlyslowmedown.wordpress.com. If you search it up, or if you take one of our little pamphlets, it's off of my main site, you can find us. And there are a lot of things that I suggest doing, like one day, read about some plants that you can eat out in your backyard. Guess what? Hilariously, tree flesh, the stuff right underneath pine bark, tastes really good. Who knew? Tastes like potato chips. But I tried it because one of the sites suggested that as a number of things that you can try. So you want to learn like this? Yeah. It tasted weird. It tastes like potato chips. It's great. I hate potato chips. There you have it. Things that you want to learn about, like things that in your area that you can eat that is just there, dandelions, like she said. And just look at one thing a day. One thing, 5 minutes online. We're online a lot longer. While you're waiting for your girlfriend or your crush to answer you back on Facebook, I can't wait till she messages me. Look and see what you can eat in the area in case she does message you and that message is zombies.
Learn how to tie a knot.
Learn how to tie a knot. Learn something about first aid. Yes.
If our parents ask us what we're doing eating things outside, what are we supposed to tell them?
Kids, ask your parents first. Everybody else, science.
Tell them to join you.
Sure, just so you don't come back and sue my butt. Make sure you check and you wash everything right. You follow the directions correctly. For instance, you can eat acorns, but you eat too many acorns, however, you will get an acid imbalance.
If you mistake Queen Anne's lace for false Queen Anne's lace, you will die. If you mistake, if you eat a certain part of a cat tail, you will die. But the other part is fine and edible.
You have to
Wait, like an actual cat
Like a
tail?
cat tail. Yeah.
Not the thing on a cat. No, it's a plant.
No, like a cat tail. Cat tail. No. Like a cat, like in a marsh kind of cat tail.
Which part is safe to eat?
I can't remember.
Do your research. Science. They don't leave.
Bye.
Well, I gotta supervise both this room and panel too.
Oh.
I do
Back.
believe it's the root. Don't quote me on that.
But yeah, just something that you can look at every day. Do a few minutes of reading. Find something. Anything. I actually had a lot of fun because I ran out of stuff to write about that's just directly zombie related in like a month. I was amazed. I've been a zombie nut my whole life. It took me a whole month to get done with it. So I started having to do a lot of research on like other stuff, and it was really interesting. Some of the things that I learned, some of the things that you can eat, some of the things that you can find, some of the things that you can make, how to make a hammock and get up into it when it's 10 feet off the ground so you can sleep away from zombies, stuff like that. And not only will you be preparing for a zombie apocalypse, but you will also be making yourself a better person because you will be learning things and you can wow your friends with all this knowledge that they don't want to hear about.
It's true.
Yeah, they look at you like you're nuts. But if you can get them into it, even just saying, hey, do you have a prep bag or a hurricane prep bag? And you call it that. You sneak them. You sneak your friends into being zombie survivalists without them knowing. So, do you have your hurricane prep bag? What's that? No, just like a change of clothes, some extra money, some medications. There's little things, stuff you need. What if you have to run out because of another hurricane? Oh yeah, that makes sense. take that, you're creepy too now. So there's that sort of thing. So, with 5 minutes left on the clock, because I'm long-winded, questions? Yes?
The popular, oh so popular, child zombies versus adult zombies, do you think that child zombies would run faster than adult zombies?
Yeah.
No.
It depends on if you're getting running zombies or if you're getting walking zombies, and quite frankly, I don't think that either are going to go faster than the other, because one of the biggest things about the zombies, about anything that takes away your mind, takes away your ability to feel pain or any of that, it also takes away most of your limitations. You know the mind over matter thing? You know how mothers can lift giant cars off their kids because they're not paying attention, their body pumps all sorts of stuff into them? I'm going to say that the difference is going to be negligible. I'm going to say that because they're not going to be paying attention, they're not going to have limitations of age, weight, youth, any of that on them. It's just going to be purely what the muscles can do. I'm going to say, I don't care if it's a toddler in a tiara or an adult dude in a tutu. You run as fast as either of them.
Any other questions?
Somebody else had a question over there.
There's this guy right here.
I was wondering about water purification, like how to make a homemade water purification system.
My mom did a lot of research on this. You can make your own sand filter, where you get, you can, you run it through sand, and it just dribbles down into this bottle. And I mean, it seems pretty pure.
There are a number of ways to do this that you can use almost anything for. Charcoal is a pretty good purification thing, but if you're going to just go for the basic, I need to purify this and I need to get it done, one of the things that you can do is you can just boil it. But if you want to make a purification filter, the trick is you go from large things to very small things. So you go, maybe you have like a cotton at the top, and then you get smaller and smaller grains of sand and so on. You make sure you get a charcoal layer so that it's running through a sieve. It's like when you put water with peas in it through a strainer, and the strainer stops the peas, and then you want the strainer to get smaller, so you want it to be sand, so that stops more and more of the bacteria, and the more things it goes through, the more it's going to catch. You're probably safer boiling it after that too, if you've made something and you aren't an expert on how to make it, but there you have it. You can also leave it in a bottle outside. If you put it in a plastic bottle outside on a reflective surface, like a tin roof or something, it takes like 1 or 2 days to completely purify, but it kills all the bacteria.
Do you remember why boiling kills all the bacteria?
What's the word?
Because it.
Love you scientists. What else you got?
Congratulations, 12 words. Anybody else?
You will make me happy today.
case you didn't have to evacuate, which would be the best vehicle?
I'm sorry?
If you did have to evacuate and you have to drive somewhere, what would be the best vehicle?
Oh, there's a large school of thought that goes into that one. What would be the best vehicle if you have to evacuate? I'm a pretty big fan of trucks. I'm a pretty big fan of having anything in the back, anywhere you can actually store things in the back while having people there. Trucks tend to be higher off the ground. If you have to go off-road, I prefer things that have four-wheel drive in case you have to throw your water bottles at
All-wheel
people.
drive. All-wheel drive is probably better, and you want something as gas efficient as you can. Right now, not to throw brands around, I have a Subaru Legacy wagon. It is.
We're being paid.
No, we're not. It's. I wish. No, it's gas efficient for a 96. Like I can get 23 miles to the gallon on highway. I get a huge trunk space, and I can fit 5 people in there as well as myself. So.
5 bodies in the trunk.
5 bodies in the trunk, all zombies.
Another quick thing to add
Jeeps are
that,
good.
as far as transportation, is you find yourself in a really dense urban environment, if you live in New York or if you live in Center City, Philadelphia, where one car can block an entire street. Something like having a bicycle on hand might not be a bad idea either. It's not good for the long term, but good to get you out of the immediate congestion in the event you need to evacuate. Could be a helpful thing.
Horses.
Once you're out of places, if you can actually take care of them. If you're looking at a matter of you have set up a stronghold somewhere and you're in like there's a long-term zombie apocalypse and you've managed to secure a college somewhere, why not? And you want to make a lot less noise and you want to be able